Good afternoon and welcome to Midday Prime. I'm Gautam Roy. This is the show where we get you all the updates coming in from the country and the world in different spheres within the space of 1 hour, including all the updates we're getting right now, the reactions on the verdict that has just come in the Ayodhya criminal case. All the details on that one in, of course, Midday Prime today. But let's turn first to the big news. Special Court in Lucknow acquits all 32 accused in the 6th of December 1992 Ayodhya case, including BJP veterans L.K. Advani and Murli Manohar Joshi. The court says the incident was not pre-planned, evidence inadequate against the accused. Acquitted leaders L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Sadhvi Ritambara welcomed the judgment. Litigant Iqbal Ansari also welcomes the verdict. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister on the gruesome rape and murder of a girl from Hathras. Directs strongest possible action. UP CM forms SIT headed by State Home Secretary to probe the case, to submit the report in 7 days. Mumbai police summons eminent filmmaker Anurag Kashyap for questioning in sexual harassment case filed by a female actor. Kashyap to be questioned at the Versova police station tomorrow. India continues to witness high single-day recoveries. Several states and union territories are reporting more patients recovering than new cases. Recovery rate is at 83.33%, with total recoveries reaching 52 lakh. In international news, heated face-off between Donald Trump and his Democratic challenger Joe Biden in the first live presidential debate in the US. Biden questions Trump on his performance on containing COVID-19. Trump accuses Biden of ignoring China's role in spreading the pandemic. And in sports, in the French Open, top-seeded Serbian Novak Djokovic enters the second round of the men's singles, while in the women's section, Karolina Pliskova also wins her match to enter the next round. Well, first up, let's get you the big news. All the 32 accused in the Ayodhya case have been acquitted by a special CBI court. The court said there was no conclusive proof against any of the accused.
अक्यूज को न्यायालय ने आज बाइज्जत बरी किया है और कोर्ट की ओपिनियन जो ओपन कोर्ट में जब जजमेंट न्यायालय दे रहा था तो उनकी ओपिनियन ये आई कि जो भी वहां लाखों कार सेवक उपस्थित हुए थे वो किसी केवल हाई कोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय के अनुसार वहां पे उनको कार सेवा करनी थी। तो ये कोई पूर्व प्रायोजित नहीं था, एक समय वो घटना हो गई और बाकी जितने भी ये बाकी लोग वहां पे उपस्थित नेता थे, भाजपा के नेता थे, वो लोगों ने प्रयास किया था उस घटना को रोकने के लिए। दूसरी बात, सीबीआई ने जो कैसेट्स दाखिल की थी वो भी कोर्ट ने माना कि वो टेम्पर्ड थी, सील्ड बंद नहीं थी। तीसरी कोर्ट की ओपिनियन आई थी कि जो वहां पे जो पेपर्स की कटिंग्स कोर्ट सीबीआई ने दाखिल की थी उसकी कोई प्रिंट या उसका कोई बेस नहीं था कि वो कहां से आई थी। तो ये कोर्ट का ये निर्णय आया है।
And reactions have been pouring in ever since the verdict was announced a little less than an hour ago. Listen in to what we've got so far.
आज लखनऊ की सीबीआई कोर्ट ने एक ऐतिहासिक निर्णय दिया है और वो निर्णय इस बात को सिद्ध करता है कि 6 दिसंबर को अयोध्या में हुई घटनाओं के लिए कोई षड्यंत्र या किसी प्रकार का ऐसा आयोजन नहीं था, वो अचानक हुआ है। हमारा स्वयं का आंदोलन जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से राम मंदिर के निर्माण के लिए सहयोग के रूप में किया जा रहा था, श्री अडवाणी जी के नेतृत्व में और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के उस समय के अध्यक्ष के रूप में जो मैं उसमें सहयोग कर रहा था, उस सब का एकमात्र उद्देश्य जन जागरण करना और राम मंदिर के लिए देश भर में एक जनमत और एक प्रकार का वायुमंडल तैयार करना था और तथ्यों को लोगों के सामने रखना था। इस निर्णय ने यह सिद्ध कर दिया है कि हमारा आंदोलन, हमारे कार्यक्रम किसी षड्यंत्र के तहत नहीं थे। वो एक सामान्य जनतांत्रिक आंदोलन के तौर पर थे। ये बड़ी बात है, इससे हम सब प्रसन्न हैं, देश प्रसन्न है। और अब मैं ऐसा समझता हूँ कि इसके बाद ये विवाद समाप्त होना चाहिए और सारे देश को मिलकर भव्य राम मंदिर के निर्माण के लिए तत्पर होना चाहिए। इस अवसर पर मैं तो एक ही बात कहूँगा कि जय जय श्री राम और सबको सन्मति दे भगवान।
बहुत ऐतिहासिक क्षण है और ये सदियों से जो संघर्ष चल रहा था, आज विजय हुई है। जो कांग्रेस ने एक साजिश के तहत अभियोग पंजीकृत कर दिया था।
सारे साक्ष्य जो है वो सीबीआई के पास थे, क्योंकि सीबीआई जो है गवाह सबूत जो है वो कोर्ट जो है सबूत मांगता है। तो जब जहां सबूत नहीं, कोर्ट फैसला उसी जो है सबूतों के आधार पे देता है। अयोध्या में जो कुछ भी हुआ था तो पूरी दुनिया ने देखा था। तमाम मुकदमे जो है पत्रकारों ने दर्ज कराए थे, दुकानदारों ने कराया, तो आम लोगों ने कराया था। आज कोर्ट ने सबको बरी कर दिया, अच्छी बात है।
न्यायालय ने हम सबके साथ न्याय किया। हमने 28 साल तक झूठे आरोपों को झेला, आज हम उससे मुक्त हो गए।
It's taken a course of nearly 28 years for this verdict to come out. Let's just go back to how it all began to trace out how and why we've come to this juncture. We'll get you inputs on that as well. But let's take a look at what really happened and how things proceeded from there. It's from origin to verdict that we're getting you the timeline really. On the 6th of December 1992, 2 FIRs were registered over the incident. One against thousands of unnamed car sevaks and the second was against 8 political leaders. Furthermore, if you go on from that, 16th December, 10 days later, former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao appointed retired High Court Judge M.S. Libahan to look into the case as well. So the Libahan Commission was born. The Libahan Commission mandated to submit its report in 3 months, and it took 48 extensions to table its report. So that's how long it took. On the 5th of October 1993, the CBI filed a consolidated charge sheet. 1993, this is 2020. That's how long it has really taken for this verdict to come out. 8th of October 1993, Uttar Pradesh government issues notification that 2 FIRs will be tried together. So they were clubbed together. 2001, accused challenge order before Allahabad High Court, citing lapse on the part of the Uttar Pradesh government. So they said that no, it's not right to club the cases together. Accused eventually won the case to have criminal conspiracy charge also dropped against them. That was quite significant. The case was then tried separately in Raebareli as well. So there was separation as well. It's a very meandering, long winding course that this entire case has taken. In 2003, the CBI filed supplementary charge sheet against 8th accused in one FIR. So that's how things progressed. L.K. Advani was discharged due to lack of evidence as well at that juncture. So there was one point that L.K. Advani had been discharged as well. 2005, Allahabad High Court set aside Raebareli Court order. This was of course related to the separation of the cases. It also decreed L.K. Advani and others will stand trial without criminal conspiracy charge. Again, the criminal conspiracy charge was still not in the picture, back in the picture rather. 2005, Raebareli court framed the charges against the accused. So this is how then things progressed. 2007, so there was a gap of almost 2 years. The first witnesses testified in the case. The charges were framed in 2005, but the witnesses started testifying in 2007. 30th of June 2009, Libahan Commission submitted its report before then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. And the same year, the Libahan Commission report was also tabled in Parliament by then Home Minister P. Chidambaram. That was in November 2009. Next year, Allahabad High Court upheld the earlier lower court order that 2 cases based on 2 FIRs would be tried separately. So it was a big issue for a long time whether the cases, the 2 separate FIRs that were registered, one against the unnamed car savings and the other against the leaders, should they be tried together or separately. 20th of March 2012, CBI filed affidavit seeking common trial for all related cases. So the CBI thought it better to have the cases tried together. 2015, the Supreme Court issued notice to senior BJP leaders seeking response to CBI's plea that criminal conspiracy charges not be dropped. So criminal conspiracy charge came back into the picture over there. 19th of April 2017, the Supreme Court said BJP stalwarts will be tried for serious offence of criminal conspiracy. So it came back into the picture. The Supreme Court ordered day-to-day trial to be concluded within 2 years. That was back in 2017. All cases were also clubbed together by the Supreme Court. Further on, in July 2019, deadline was extended by 9 months. The Supreme Court also extended the tenure of the judge hearing the case in Lucknow. On the 24th of July 2020, L.K. Advani recorded his statement before the court through a video link. And what did Advani say in that testimony? He denied any involvement in any criminal conspiracy. Furthermore, what did he say? Well, he said he in fact pleaded that he was unnecessarily dragged into the entire case, that he had nothing to do with this particular conspiracy as it's been alleged. Advani also charged the investigation was conducted under political pressure and the charge sheet was based on fabricated evidence. Now, these are the claims that L.K. Advani made in his testimony. 22nd of August 2020, the Supreme Court extended the deadline for completion of trial by 1 month, and then further on there was some extension also given, and then of course the point of the verdict started coming closer. The 1st of September 2020, final arguments by defense and prosecution. Judge began writing the verdict, and then of course Judgment Day, 30th of September 2020, verdict was announced, all accused acquitted. So that brings us to this juncture where we are now looking at how this entire verdict has really come about, and for that purpose we need to take you across to our reporters, our colleagues who are getting us all the inputs. First, let me take you across to Ramendra, who was there when the verdict was announced. Ramendra, just tell us, what happened really in court and outside when the verdict was announced.
देखिए 27 साल के लंबे अंतराल का ऐतिहासिक दिन है जब इस बड़ी घटना का पटाक्षेप न्यायालय द्वारा किया गया है। आप जिन तथ्यों का जिक्र कर रहे थे, रायबरेली अदालत में जब चार्ज फ्रेम हो रहा था तब भी जज वी.के. सिंह ने कहा था कि आडवाणी जी के खिलाफ तथ्य नहीं है और इनके खिलाफ मुकदमा नहीं चलाया जा सकता। उसके 7 लोगों के खिलाफ उन्होंने कहा था कि मुकदमा चलाया जा सकता है। तो जाहिर है कि तथ्य तो वही थे जो पहले थे और वही तथ्य यहाँ तक आए, लेकिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सीबीआई गई और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि नहीं, सभी के खिलाफ मुकदमे चलाए जाएं, जिससे ये ना हो सके कि हमने पहले छोड़ दिया है, कानूनी प्रक्रिया पूरी हो। ये शायद सुप्रीम कोर्ट का मत रहा होगा। लंबे अंतराल के बाद गवाही हुई, जिरा हुई, पक्ष विपक्ष की बहस हुई और तमाम वकीलों की जिरा सुनने के बाद कोर्ट इस निर्णय पर पहुंचा कि जो तथ्य सीबीआई ने दिए हैं वो नाकाफी हैं किसी को सजा देने के लिए, और उन 32 जो जीवित आरोपी जिनको आरोप लगाया गया था उन सभी को दोष मुक्त कर दिया गया है। ये एक बड़ी घटना है, एक भारत देश के जो इतिहास है उसमें जब लिखी जाएगी तो एक बड़ी घटना है कि राम मंदिर आंदोलन से जुड़ी हुई एक बार सिविल कोर्ट का जजमेंट हुआ और राम मंदिर का निर्माण हो रहा, वहीं ये जो क्रिमिनल केस था उसका भी पटाक्षेप हो गया। हमारे साथी आशुतोष जी साथ हैं। आशुतोष जी, क्या इस पूरी घटना को लेकर के क्या कहा जाए कि जो जिस तरीके से न्यायालय ने पूरे तथ्यों को साफ किया है?
देखिए, 2300 पन्नों का ये फैसला है, पूरा परीक्षण हुआ है मामले का, और इस परीक्षण में ये पाया गया कि साक्ष्य इस तरीके की नहीं है कि किसी के खिलाफ जो है क्रिमिनल केस चलाया जा सके या उनको क्रिमिनल अपराधी दोषी सिद्ध किया जा सके। निश्चित रूप से इसमें एक लंबा समय लगा है, तमाम सारी बातें आई हैं, तमाम राजनीतिक बातें आई हैं, लेकिन ये देर से आया फैसला जरूर है, लेकिन पूरा तथ्यपूर्ण फैसला है कि पूरी तरह से इसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया गया अदालत के द्वारा। उसके पहले सीबीआई ने जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया था उसको अदालत ने नहीं माना और पूरी तरह से न्याय किया, और जो दूध का दूध पानी का पानी जिसे कहते हैं वह पूरी तरह से स्पष्ट हुआ।
उन लोगों के लिए भी बड़ा राहत देने वाली खबर है, चाहे लाल कृष्ण आडवाणी जी रहे हों, चाहे मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी रहे हों, उमा भारती रहे हों, कल्याण सिंह रहे हों, जिन्होंने लगातार कहा कि ये जो हमारे खिलाफ आरोप लगाए जा रहे हैं ये राजनीति से प्रेरित हैं, द्वेषपूर्ण हैं और इनका कोई अर्थ नहीं है। जिस तरीके से आरोप लगाए जा रहे हैं, 120B में जो धाराएं लगाई गई थी उसमें डकैती तक की धाराओं में जोड़ा गया था, तो जाहिर है कि ये जो धाराएं थी, जो तथ्य थे, उनको न्यायालय ने पूरी तरीके से देखा और देखने के बाद ये पाया कि ये ऐसे तथ्य नहीं है जो सीबीआई ने या सीबीसीआईडी ने जांच के बाद दिए हैं कि इनमें दोष साबित हो सके, और 29 लोगों को दोष मुक्त कर दिया है।
बिल्कुल, लेकिन रामेंद्र, इतने वर्षों में और ख़ासकर जब केस चला, सीबीआई ने चार्जशीट्स भी फाइल की, इतने सारे विटनेसेस भी एग्जामिन हुए, सैकड़ों विटनेसेस थे, साक्ष्य भी दिए, हर तरह का फोरेंसिक एविडेंस भी दिया गया था, लेकिन अदालत ने माना कि ये सब काफ़ी नहीं है, पर्याप्त नहीं है कि इसमें कोई कन्विक्शन का सवाल उठे। लेकिन तो क्या माना जाए, जो सारा जो वाक़या हुआ था उसको क्या कहा जाएगा? क्या उसमें कोई अपराध भी नहीं था कि जिनको अपराधी बनाया गया था उनके खिलाफ ही सिद्ध नहीं हो पाया?
बिल्कुल, देखिए, जो जिनको आरोपी बनाया गया था वो बड़े लीडर्स हैं, चाहे संघ के हों, चाहे विहिप के हों, चाहे भारतीय जनता पार्टी के, और ये ऐसे नेता थे जो देश जोड़ने के लिए निकलते थे, जो देश को एक करने के लिए जाते थे। इन पर जिस तरीके से आरोप लगाए गए, लगातार जांच हुई, पहले सीबीसीआईडी ने जांच किया, बाद में सीबीआई ने जांच किया, और अंततः जब कोर्ट में उन तथ्यों को परखा गया, जांचा गया, तो पता लगा कि जो फोटोज दिए गए हैं, जो वीडियोज दिए गए हैं, टेम्पर्ड हैं, वो बनाए गए हुए हैं। तो इस तरीके से जो सारे तथ्य निकल कर आए, तो लास्ट में ये तय हुआ कि जो कोर्ट ने परीक्षण करने के बाद पाया कि ये आरोप तय नहीं हो सकते हैं और इन्हें आरोप मुक्त किया जाए। तो ये बड़ी घटना है कि जिस तरीके से वो कह रहे थे कि राजनीतिक द्वेष के कारण लगाए गए, तो अब शायद राजनीतिक रूप से बात भी हो कि जो आरोप लगाए गए तो राजनीतिक कारणों से लगाए गए। तो आशुतोष जी हमारे साथ।
बिल्कुल रामेंद्र, जो है मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ ने अपने बयान में कहा है, उन्होंने स्वागत किया है फैसले का, और साथ में तत्कालीन कांग्रेस सरकार के ऊपर आरोप भी लगाया है कि इस तरह से बड़ा षड्यंत्र करने वाले सरकार और लोगों के खिलाफ भी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए।
बिल्कुल, ये चीजें निकल करके सामने आएंगी जब एक बड़े मामले का पटाक्षेप हुआ है, तो जाहिर है कि राजनीतिक रूप से बातें आएंगी और इस न्यायालय के जो निर्णय है उसके सापेक्ष में भी बातें निकलेंगी कि ये जो आरोपी कह रहे थे कि ये न्यायालय जो हमारे ऊपर आरोप लगाए गए सही नहीं है, शायद यही तथ्य अब निकल करके सामने है और इसी पर चर्चा आगे बढ़ेगी।
Bilkul. Let's also go across to Kumar Alok, my colleague who's at the residence of LK Advani. It's quite evident that all the persons, especially the veterans who were accused in the case, they must be feeling a sense of relief. They must be feeling vindicated. Kumar Alok, but just tell us what is happening right now at LK Advani's residence.
कुछ देर पहले तक जब वर्डिक्ट आया था तो यहाँ पर काफ़ी मीडिया कर्मियों की भीड़ थी, और जब वर्डिक्ट आया उसके बाद से यहाँ पर मिठाइयाँ बांटी गई, खुशियाँ मनाई गई, और विशेष रूप से मिठाइयाँ लाई गई आडवाणी जी की निवास स्थान से, और कुछ लोग भी मिलने आए, लेकिन जैसा कि आशा की जा रही थी कि लीडर्स लोग मिलने आएंगे, लेकिन कोरोना को देखते हुए शायद ऐसा संभव नहीं हो पा रहा है और बिल्कुल अब शांत यहाँ पर माहौल है। लेकिन इस बीच अभी उनका एक स्टेटमेंट आया है आडवाणी जी का, मैं आपको पढ़ के सुना देता हूँ कि आडवाणी जी ने जो कहा है कि आई होल हार्टेडली वेलकम द सिग्निफिकेंट जजमेंट डिलीवर्ड टुडे बाय द स्पेशल कोर्ट इन द बाबरी मस्जिद डेमोलिशन केस। The judgment vindicates my personal and the Bharatiya Janata Party's belief and commitment towards the Ram Janmabhoomi movement. I also feel blessed that this judgment has come in the footsteps of another landmark verdict of Supreme Court given in November 2009, which paved the way for my long-cherished dream of seeing a grand Ram Mandir at Ayodhya, the foundation laying ceremony of which was held on 5th August 2020. I am grateful to my party workers, leaders, saints, and all those who through their selfless involvement, sacrifice, gave me strength and support during the Ayodhya movement. I also greatly value the contribution of my legal team, headed by Sri Mahipal Ahluwalia, for all these years. Mahipal ji, his son Anurag Ahluwalia, and their team have looked into every aspect of this case with utmost dedication. Along with millions of my countrymen, I now look forward to the completion of the beautiful Sri Ram Mandir at Ayodhya. May Sri Ram keep us blessed always. तो ये स्टेटमेंट अभी जारी हुआ है आडवाणी जी की तरफ से। और यहाँ पे अगर हम कहें कि अयोध्या को लेकर के जो दो केसेस थी, एक केसेस जिसमें कि 67 एकड़ की विवादित जमीन को लेकर के दो पक्षों के बीच चल रहा था, जिसका वर्डिक्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ओर से आया 9 नवंबर को 2019 को, और जिसमें कि मंदिर निर्माण की प्रक्रिया को हरी झंडी दी गई सुप्रीम कोर्ट के द्वारा। और दूसरा जो आपराधिक मामला था जिसमें कि 48 लोगों को आरोपित किया गया था, जिसमें कि 15 लोग नहीं रहे इस दुनिया में, तो 32 लोगों को सीधा बरी किया है। और ये भी कहा है अपने वर्डिक्ट में कि किसी नेता ने उकसाने की कोशिश नहीं की मॉब को, और मॉब जब मस्जिद की तरफ या विवादित ढांचे की तरफ बढ़ रही थी तो उसमें जो नेता थे, बीजेपी के शीर्ष नेता थे, मुरली मनोहर जोशी हो या उमा भारती हो, इन लोगों ने उन्हें रोकने की कोशिश की, लेकिन ये लोग नहीं माने और अंततः जो हुआ 6 दिसंबर 1992 को। तो ये आज का दिन ऐतिहासिक दिन है, खास करके उन लोगों के लिए जो लगातार 28 वर्षों से प्रताड़ना झेल रहे थे, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऐतिहासिक निर्णय अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा वर्डिक्ट है आज के लिए।
Definitely, it is a verdict that was long anticipated, and it has finally come and brought a lot of relief to a lot of people who always maintained that there was no such conspiracy behind what happened on the 6th of December 1992. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Kumar Alok. Let's now go across. DK Dubey is with us, a noted constitutional expert. What is your take on this verdict, Mr. Dubey?
Actually, there was the lack of evidences, and we having some stages, 4 or 5 stages for the evidence. First of all, whenever the prosecution is presenting the evidence, that must be relevant to the fact and issue. After relevancy, that must be direct related to the fact and issue. And now the burden of proof, the prosecution having the burden of proof that the evidence is genuine and it is in reality, you can appreciate on that. After proving the document, now the court will try that these documents are sufficient for the conviction or not. In this case, when the document or any eyewitness was presented, or any type of CD or some visuals was presented to the court, these visuals may be relevant, but these are not proved by the prosecution, because for each type of evidence, especially for the electronic evidences, we need the original copy, means original reel and original camera from which it was shooted. No, we can't believe on the media reports shown on the televisions. Right. We always appreciate the original copy of shooting. So there was the absence of the original copy of the shooting in this case. That is why the court cannot appreciate these type of documents or these type of video or visuals. That is why the court said we can't believe on that. And now there must be some eyewitnesses. So eyewitnesses, I think that in long run case of 28 years, I don't think that the lot of witnesses having the memories that what happened there and what happened in that case, and they was able to give the cross examination. That is why I think that it was a very weak case from the CBI, and that is why in the starting, Honorable Court was not framed a charge against the LK Advani and so other peoples, but Honorable Supreme Court said I have to try it fully. That is why the court tried the case without the sufficient evidences, with the lack of evidences. So I think that The case was decided in 2017 when the court said that the evidence is not sufficient and evidence is not reliable. But the Honorable Supreme Court's order, they followed and after all decided the case.
Right. Now, two questions. One is about this criminal conspiracy charge that was initially there, then it was removed, then it came back because of the Supreme Court feeling that it should be there and the accused should be tried for it. Do you think things might have been different if that criminal conspiracy charge might not have been added?
Actually, in the criminal conspiracy case, there must be a conspiracy before happening of the incident.
Yes.
Means there must be a meeting of mind, there must be a design, and on that design, the parties has to be followed. But in this case, there was no pre-decision, there was no meeting of mind, there was the absence of the design, there was the absence of the planning. So at instant, whatever happened, the leaders at that time, whoever was on the stage, they cried from the stage that don't have to do like this. So these are the records to the court. That is why court is not convinced that there was the pre-planning or there was a meeting of mind prior to the demolition of that structure. So in this case, Honorable Court decided in the right way that there is absence of the conspiracy. That is why they discharged from the conspiracy.
Right. And also the fact that this case took so long for the verdict to come out, that too, as you said, would have had a bearing, because you said witnesses tend to forget and don't stand up to cross-examination because things do get a little fuzzy over the course of time.
Actually, what happened in this case, first of all, FIR was recorded to the police. Now the police started the investigation. During the investigation by the police, Liberhan Ayog was appointed, Liberhan Commission was appointed, Liberhan Commission started the investigation. Now after the Liberhan Commission, now the CBI was involved and CBI started the investigation. And in this long time, lot of investigating officers may be changed or retired or come new and they exchanged. So, in my opinion, if the investigation will be delayed and a lot of agencies will work on the investigation, that investigation may not be a good investigation.
Right.
So,
right.
The people who ever given the statement before one authority, now they have given to the another authority, now they have given to the third authority, and now they have to give in the court and have to face the cross-examination. So I think that there was a long time, and in 20 years, after 20 years, if you will cross-examine any pupil, that age of that pupil was 40 years at the time of demolition, and now he is 60 or 65 or 70 years at the time of cross-examination. His memory may also be lost.
Naturally.
So it is a case for the delay, and due to delay, I don't think that the cross-examination may be good in this case.
Right. So, but at the end of the day, and you've in a way answered my question, but I still need to ask it, is that, the case has not been proven, the crime has not been proven against the people who were accused of committing it. But does that mean the crime never took place? What happens now?
No, now the parties, means CBI, whoever presented the case, means they are the prosecution. CBI having the option to go to the High Court, and they may request to the High Court to please, lower court is not appreciated or the trial court is not appreciated my evidences, but these evidences are reliable as per the Evidence Act. So please review it and make an order and involve all these evidences, whatever we have presented, and come on the reality as per the CBI. So they may go to the High Court, and after the High Court, if the High Court also decided, then both the parties, whoever will lose the case in the High Court, may go to the Supreme Court also.
Right. Well, I'm not sure if this prosecution is going to go to the High Court or not, but I believe some other people have already said that they might take the matter to the High Court. Let's wait and see. Thanks a lot for joining us with your expert opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now let's get to some more reactions that have been coming in. If you look at this particular case from different quarters, one of them reacting is Defence Minister Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. Let's look at what he has had to say on Twitter about this. लखनऊ की विशेष अदालत द्वारा बाबरी मस्जिद विध्वंस केस में श्री लालकृष्ण आडवाणी, श्री कल्याण सिंह, डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी, उमा जी समेत 32 लोगों के किसी भी षड्यंत्र में शामिल न होने के निर्णय का मैं स्वागत करता हूं. सो ही इज वेलकमिंग द डिसीजन. इस निर्णय से ये साबित हुआ है कि देर से ही सही मगर न्याय की जीत हुई है. सो ही इज सेइंग एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट्स द विक्ट्री ऑफ justice. And furthermore, if you look at what Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister has also said again on Twitter, Yogi Adityanath, let's see what he said. सत्यमेव जयते, सीबीआई की विशेष अदालत के निर्णय का स्वागत है। तत्कालीन कांग्रेस सरकार द्वारा राजनीतिक पूर्वाग्रह से ग्रसित हो पूज्य संतों, बीजेपी फॉर इंडिया नेताओं, मतलब बीजेपी पार्टी जो है उसके नेताओं, विश्व हिंदू परिषद पदाधिकारियों, समाज सेवियों को झूठे मुकदमों में फंसाकर बदनाम किया गया। इस षड्यंत्र के लिए इन्हें जनता से माफी मांगनी चाहिए। So that's what Yogi Adityanath is saying, that the entire case was politically prompted. It was brought in by the Congress, and now the Congress should do penance for it. Ask the people to forgive the party. Let's now move on to our developing story. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today on the gruesome rape and murder of a girl from Hathras. The Prime Minister directed strongest possible and quick action in the matter. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister has constituted a 3-member SIT to probe the Hathras gang rape case, to probe the gruesome gang rape and murder of the girl in Uttar Pradesh. Yogi Adityanath has directed the SIT to submit its report in 7 days. The SIT will be headed by Principal Home Secretary Bhagwan Swarup. The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister has also ordered for the conduct of proceedings in a fast-track court. Meanwhile, all 4 accused have been remanded to police custody. Okay, let's now move on to National Prime. Let's get you what's happening in the context of the Bihar elections first. Now, a 9-member team led by Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora reached Patna last evening. After arriving, the team held a meeting with the state's Chief Electoral Officer, H.R. Srinivasan, and the state police officials. The officials apprised the Commissioner about the profile of Bihar. Today, the Commission will meet representatives of political parties and take up their suggestions. Later in the afternoon, team members will hold a meeting with district election officers and police chiefs of 26 districts of the state, which is likely to last till late night. The team will visit Gaya tomorrow to take stock of the field as well as to review poll preparedness in the remaining 12 districts. Now, India continues to report high number of recoveries as far as COVID-19 outbreak is concerned. The recovered cases have exceeded the new confirmed cases again in the last 24 hours. India's recovery rate has leapt past 83.33%. A total of 86,428 recoveries have been registered in the past 24 hours, while the number of new confirmed cases stands at 9,40,441. The total number of recoveries has touched 51,87,825. Now, as India witnesses high single-day COVID-19 recoveries, several states and union territories are reporting more patients recovering than new cases. The average single-day recoveries have touched a record high of 90,000 in recent days. India's steep rise in recoveries has been possible due to focused and effective implementation of centre-led strategies through a whole-of-government approach. Focus on 5T, test, track, trace, treat technology has resulted in high level of sustained nationwide outcomes. Now, according to the Indian Council of Medical Research, the total number of samples tested so far is 7,41,96,729. 10,86,688 samples were tested in a single day yesterday. But at the same time, the threat for COVID is real. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, who underwent a routine COVID-19 test on Tuesday, has been tested positive. Vice President's Secretariat has said the Vice President is asymptomatic and in good health. He has been advised home quarantine. However, Vice President's wife, Usha Naidu, tested negative and is in self-isolation. The Tamil Nadu government has extended the coronavirus lockdown in the state till the 31st of October with some more relaxations. The move comes hours after Chief Minister Edappadi K. Palaniswamy held a conference with district collectors and asked them to step up efforts to further decrease the COVID-19 mortality rate in the state. Educational institutions will continue to remain closed. Relaxations from the 1st of October include an increase in number of domestic flights allowed to land at the Chennai airport to 100 a day. Cinema shootings will be permitted with a maximum of 100 people at a time. The Supreme Court on Wednesday refused to postpone UPSC Civil Services preliminary exam to be held on the 4th of October because of the COVID-19 pandemic and floods in several parts of the country. It also refused to consider the plea for clubbing of this year's exams with that of 2021, saying this will have a cascading effect. The bench was hearing a plea seeking postponement of the civil services exams for 2 to 3 months so that the flood or incessant rains recede and COVID-19 curve flattens. The Union Public Service Commission opposed the plea, saying all necessary precautions have been taken and adequate arrangements have been made for holding of the exams. Now, as the nation celebrates 150 years of the Mahatma's birth, we take a look at some of the places that had an influence on Gandhiji and in turn the nation's history. It was his visit to Madurai that influenced Gandhiji to adopt a simple lion cloth, dhoti, in his desire to identify with the poor masses. Tracing the Mahatma's footsteps, let's now get you more on Madurai's relationship with Gandhiji.
The father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary is being celebrated by a grateful nation this year. There are several incidents in the life of Mahatma Gandhi that have deeply influenced him and in turn the whole nation. One such landmark event is his visit to Madurai in September 1921. Gandhian historians say the visit led him to adopt the loincloth with a shawl on the 22nd of September that year, disowning his usual elaborate attire. A manifestation of his desire to identify with the poor masses, his adoption of the loincloth in Madurai led him to never wear any shirts again.
He saw a lot of people in a poor conditions, poor positions, wearing a simple dress, wearing a single dhoti in the top, one shawl like that. That incident was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi during his second visit. When he visited this Madurai, he adopted the lion cloth in Madurai only. Till end, he never wear any shirts or anything. He only with the shawl only, he just roamed throughout India, throughout the world also.
On his visit to the city in 1934, on the Harijan tour, Gandhiji refused to enter the Meenakshi temple upon knowing that the lower classes couldn't enter it. Gandhiji's other visits to Madurai included the one during the 1919 Anti-Rowlatt Act protests, in 1927 for strengthening the Swadeshi movement, and in 1946 to the Meenakshi temple. The Gandhi Memorial Museum in Madurai houses rare books, manuscripts and articles relating to Gandhiji's life and times. The museum also has a collection of 14 articles used personally by the Mahatma, the most significant exhibit being the blood-stained loincloth worn by him at the time of his assassination. Bureau Report, DD News.
Keep tuning into DD India and DD News to trace the Mahatma's footsteps. And now in Midday Prime, it's time to get you all the updates from the world of business and economy. And with all the business updates, we have Arun.
Thanks, Gautam. And let's begin the business segment. Now, let's first of all talk about the stock markets. Now, talking about Sensex and Nifty, now both are trading with volatility. Now, talking about Sensex is trading at around 38,000 levels. On the other side, Nifty is also reflecting the same mood and is trading at around 11,200 levels. Well, sectors like pharmaceutical and of course FMCG, they both are witnessing some kind of buying, but selling pressure is being witnessed in sectors like banking, auto and PSU. And talking about the yellow metal, now gold and silver, now they both, the prices of both these metals dropped in today's trading session. On MCX, gold prices fell by rupees 300 to trade at around 50,350 rupees per 10 gram. Silver also slipped by approximately 1,378 rupees to trade at around 61,088 levels. And government has extended the deadline for submission of expression of interest, that is EOI, for Bharat Petroleum, that is BPCL divestment, to November 16. Now, this is the fourth time that the deadline has been extended to accommodate delays due to the coronavirus outbreak. Now, the last deadline was to end today. Well, so that's it in this edition of Business Segment. For other news, back to you, Gautam.
Well, that was short but not necessarily sweet, but thanks, Arun. Okay, now let's get you updates from around the globe as well. US President Donald Trump and his Democratic presidential rival candidate Joe Biden engaged in what can be only described as very mildly described as fiery exchange over various issues during their first debate. The 90-minute televised debate saw two rivals taking potshots at each other with frequent intervention from the debate moderator. Biden urged Americans to make a plan to vote and assured voters that Trump would be gone if Biden wins. Calling Trump a liar, Biden slammed him of having no plan for health care.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan.
Meanwhile, Trump also accused the Democratic Party of what he called a disastrous Obamacare program.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, that. They shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? Yeah. If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people, okay? I said, you got to run it so well.
That's what
and I just had a meeting with them. They said, the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive, premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it.
There were multiple points of clashes in that debate, the 90-minute televised debate, be it economy, be it issues of race, or even in terms of how the election should be conducted. And this will go on, so we'll keep reporting about that in the coming days as well, up till the 3rd of November, maybe even beyond. Now, the World Health Organization has termed 1 million deaths from COVID-19 as a very sad milestone after many victims suffered a terribly difficult and lonely death, and their families were unable to say goodbye. The global coronavirus death toll rose past 1 million on Tuesday, a grim statistic in a pandemic that has devastated the global economy, overloaded health systems, and changed the way people live. Amid the gloom, the WHO asserted that one positive thing about this virus is it is suppressible. It is not the flu. Meanwhile, New York City will now impose fines on people who refuse to wear a face covering as the rate of positive tests for the novel coronavirus climbed above 3% for the first time in months. Officials will first offer free masks to those caught not wearing one. If the person still refuses, they will face an unspecified fine. The city already imposes a fine of $50 on commuters who refuse to wear a mask on public transit. In another part of the world, a Turkish F-16 fighter jet shot down an Armenian Su-25 warplane over Armenian territory on Tuesday, killing the pilot. After the tragic incident, the Armenian Defense Ministry tweeted that the plane had been on a military assignment when it was shot down. However, Turkey and Azerbaijan called the claim absolutely untrue. Armenian officials also said that Turkey had sent around 4,000 fighters from Turkish-controlled northern Syria to Azerbaijan and that they were involved in hostilities in Nagorno-Karabakh. Refuting the claims, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, AK party, denied both these reports. Now, a crowd of young men looking to enlist and support Azerbaijan in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict formed in Baku on Tuesday. Youth are turning up to enlist themselves as dozens have been reported killed and hundreds wounded since the fierce clashes between Azerbaijan and its ethnic Armenian mountain enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh broke out on Sunday in a new eruption of a decades-old conflict. Nagorno-Karabakh is a breakaway region that is inside Azerbaijan but is run by ethnic Armenians and is supported by Armenia. It broke away from Azerbaijan in a war in the 1990s but is not recognized by any country as an independent republic. Now, wildlife officials in Zimbabwe are suspecting a bacterial disease behind the deaths of over 30 elephants since late August. They said that a bacterial disease called hemorrhagic septicemia is possibly the cause of deaths in elephants, but further tests are being carried out to confirm it. Earlier this year, hundreds of elephants were found dead in Botswana from a type of bacterial poisoning. Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority (DG) said that 34 elephants have been found dead so far, while they were found lying on their stomachs, suggesting a sudden death. The post-mortem samples have been sent to the UK and South Africa to determine the type of disease. According to experts, Zimbabwe's current elephant population is close to 90,000. Now, 9 stranded pilot whales have died on a beach on Spain's northern coast, but local authorities and residents managed to help others back to the sea. Austrian government said that the whales were spotted on Monday on the Morris Beach in Carreño, while volunteers with officials worked late to help them. He further added that half a dozen have managed to return to the sea, but still remain close to the coast, while the team is focusing on keeping them from returning to the beach. Bodies of the 9 dead whales will undergo an autopsy in a nearby town of Gijón. Now, early voters in Pennsylvania cast their ballots on Tuesday, hours before the first debate between President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. With more than 1 million Americans already casting early ballots and time running out to change minds or influence the small sliver of undecided voters, the stakes are enormous as the 2 White House candidates take the stage 5 weeks before the 3rd of November election, and they have already taken that stage. That debate was quite forgettable. And it's time now to get you all the updates from the world of sports. And taking up to different sporting arenas is Suchitra.
Thank you, Gautam. Let's start with French Open. 17-time Grand Slam winner Novak Djokovic beat Sweden's Mikael Ymer 6-0, 6-2, 6-3 to enter the second round of the French Open. The Serb top seed dropped only 5 games in the first round win. Fifth seed Stefanos Tsitsipas beat Spain's Jaume Munar 4-6, 2-6, 6-1, 6-4, 6-4 and moved into the second round. to football now. Liverpool midfielder Thiago Alcantara has tested positive for COVID-19 and is self-isolating. He recently signed for the club from Bayern Munich and made his debut as a substitute in a 2-0 win against Chelsea. According to Liverpool, Thiago has exhibited minor symptoms of the virus but is in good health and is getting better. Chelsea have been knocked out of the EFL Cup by Tottenham Hotspurs on penalties. Mason Mount missed the crucial spot kick as Tottenham overcame Chelsea 5-4 on penalties after the match had ended in a 1-1 draw. 9 penalties had been converted before Mount stepped up to see the ball clip the post. So those were some top sports stories. Back to you, Gautam.
Thank you, Suchitra. And let's now move in to what is known as Live Prime. Okay, now fashion brands are gradually returning to catwalk after holding off for many months due to COVID-19 pandemic. Paris Fashion Week also saw a socially distanced runway show as models paraded around an art installation recording Gothic-style stained glass windows to a live choir performance with crowd restricted to 300. Working from home or remotely might be forgetting how one basically looks good while going out, since people have not been going out. But this is a good reminder to just have fashion for yourself and have a great day ahead as well. Keep watching DD News and DD India.